Is fiction bad for you? No, it is not. My channel is built on showing people why fiction is good for you. Like, come on, guys.
Am I a joke to you?
I got asked this question about 2 weeks ago, so I'm kind of late in making this video, but let's be honest, that's nothing new at this point. If you guys are new to this channel, then welcome everyone. I have videos that talk about lessons that I have learned from watching fiction. I plan on making videos about what I've learned from reading fiction as well, but I'll be saving those for when I'm finished reading my books here. So if you guys aren't new, then welcome back and I appreciate you guys being here. I also would like to clarify that in this video, I will talk about both reading and watching, but I want to keep it about fiction in general. People like to say that fiction is a waste of time because the stories aren't real, the characters aren't real, but let me tell you what is real though. The connection that we feel with these characters. The characters in a movie, in a drama, in an anime, or in a book, it doesn't matter. The relationship or the connection that we feel with these people is real. So let me ask you, what is the difference between this book and this book? One of them is a self-help book which comes from experience of the author, teaching people the things that they've learned throughout their life in hopes that other people who read this book will learn and apply it in their life as well. When the other book is a fiction book, which is a story about love, forgiveness, and second chances. So even though both of them have different topics, one is fiction and one is from real life experiences, both of them have their own applications. The first movie that I ever cried in was the movie Inside Out. Spoiler alert, fast forward now or forever have this story spoiled for you. Okay? So that scene where Bing Bong sacrificed himself to get Joy back hurt. And he said, "Take her to the moon for me." And the resolution part of the movie where Riley was running away, unable to control her emotions. Oh man, Disney, I just can't. And one of my favorite books is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I got this book from my college library and read it during my OJT days, and I fell in love with the characters. Which leads me to my first point. Reading fiction allows us to experience things we have never experienced before. If you read books, then you're probably familiar with this quote: "Reading can take you places you have never been before." Dr. Seuss. I don't care if the place in the book or movie isn't real, the way that it is described, the way that they show it to you in the movie, the way you're left to your own imagination just takes you places. And it's not just allowing you to go to places, but like I said, the emotions that we feel, the connections we built with the characters, those things are real. We feel anger, we feel sad, we feel happy. We feel emotions which the writer wanted us to experience. 2521, a K-drama I really love. I cried a lot, I laughed a lot. I love the main cast, and it just leaves me saying, protect these kids at all costs. And the characters they play aren't even real. Number 2, fiction raises awareness to things we aren't aware of. Very amazing point, right? I have no other way to phrase it, so I'm sorry, but let me give you an example to make it easier. The first book that I really read, I've read books when I was younger, but I didn't really pay attention. It was all just for a book report. But the first book that I really read was an autobiography called My Story by Dave Pelzer. It's a story about abuse and a child's will to live. Note, I was 13 years old when I read this. I grew up in a pretty nice family, complete, middle class, I would say. Pretty close to both my parents and to my 3 older siblings. I didn't know it was an autobiography before. I didn't even fully understand the story of abuse, but looking back, I'm like, wow, this story is so deep. It raises awareness to people like me who have no clue that abuse in the family is actually real. And I mean, like before, I didn't know it was real. It's 2023. Of course, I'm older now. I've spoken to a lot of people. I've met a lot of people. But when I was 13, I didn't know these things were real, and having this book with me, reading this book, really brought it to my attention. And I'll mention it again, All the Bright Places. It talks about self-harm, depression, loss of a family member, being judged or labeled as something. All of these things are real. Number 3 would be to remember to filter things out. It's not really a benefit of fiction. I would say number 3 is more of a takeaway from this video. I'm not going to say that all kinds of fiction is good. I acknowledge that there are some that are just straight up for the sake of entertainment. Not everything has a lesson. If anything, it might even teach you bad things. There's a K-drama that is titled, and it talks about open relationships. So it's not my thing. I don't really agree with those kind of things. So I think that the story of that K-drama is really like not good for the people. So there are like fiction or things out there that like teach bad things. So we really just need to have that filter. I can watch K-dramas with crime as its main genre, and I could still learn a life lesson from it. We could be reading a love story and have nothing gained from it aside from the entertainment and the adventure, and that's okay. Not everything has to be productive. Rest is rest in any form. Just filter out the bad things that you get from movies, from books, from games. That's why there are trigger warnings for these things. Just be careful with the things you read, watch, and play. And remember that all of these things are fiction, yes, but the stories that these come from are from inspirations. They come from the writer's dreams of a world that would care about this topic. They are inspired by the writer's own personal story or what they want to see, what they feel needs more like acknowledgement. It's because they are inspired by the writer. That's why we are able to relate to them so much, because the writer wants us to feel this way. They want us to connect to the characters. They want to show us this thing. They want to teach us this thing, and that's what I really love about fiction. The connection that is being built between me and the characters, how I learn from their stories, how I learn how to react when this situation is presented with me. Like I said earlier, since I do have like a complete family, it's hard for me to relate to my friends who have broken families. It's hard for me to relate to people who have lost a loved one because I've never experienced this thing. But when I see it in a movie, when I read it from a book, it allows me to understand that feeling a little bit better. So I would say that's one of the most important benefits when it comes to fiction. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember, live to inspire, live to make a difference, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.